All right, welcome everyone. Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for Mob Psycho 100, Season 3, Episode 9.
We got aliens last episode.
Yeah, the show is hitting its ending point where they're like, hey, yeah, we don't care. We can
do whatever the fuck we want.
We can do wild shit. It's important that we send off all these characters on a high note, and some of them are getting more than they bargained for. So, okay, there we go. We focused on the on kind of the doofuses and the outcast crew of the school.
Yes.
So now let's focus in more on the main cast.
Like the Body Improvement Club.
Yes, that's a great group here.
Yeah.
But they, as we know, they don't need to improve. They've already been doing that.
They're always improving.
They're always improving.
Yep.
They can never stop improving.
Exactly.
You know?
Yes.
I cannot stop improving. Yeah. But we do have Mob needing some more focus here in general. We do have Reagan needing some more focus in general.
That's always good.
We could also really, touch on like Terasaki. I've combined Hanazawa and Teruki together there.
Yep.
But Teruki, Ritsu, getting a little bit more on the close-knit like main cast would be great.
That would be nice, yeah.
But yeah, y'all, without further ado, let's get into this. Oh. Then we're gonna go from this to get a clue.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah. It was a very happy memory, not just a dream, but,
明けましておめでとう。今日から3学期が始まる。とりあえず今日は始業式の後に冬休みの宿題を回収して終わりだ。
3年生になったらつぼみちゃんと同じクラスになる。
そう
Hey.
だ。もう一つ連絡事項があったんだ。3組の高根つぼみさんが。
Oh, okay, cool. I
Moving.
like that as an instigating, like, force.
急すぎて頭が追いつかない。だって受験シーズンが終わってから気持ちを伝えよう。まだ何も行動してないし、何も起きてない。
Oh, it's like Mob Psycho Season 3 will be the final season. But wait, what?
Yeah, hang on.
Hang on! ちょっと待って!
We were supposed to have a whole romance anime arc.
Yeah.
モブのやつ。
Yeah.
高根さんのことを。
Yep.
Oh my gosh!
Yep.
A new telepath has joined the scene. Yep. I was gonna say, we're gonna get a percentage increase after this.
Yes. If anything were to do it, then.
Oh!
Oh, yes, and these guys can
The squad!
help you out.
Are you sane? Love that the Body Improvement Club is like, you're crazy if you think you can make this work.
No, we're dedicated.
We're dedicated to the
man.
metal. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Ugh.
Oh. Hell yeah. You're marked with our encouragement.
Yes.
Fight on! Fight on! Fight on! Fight on!
Oh, that was amazing.
What? Oh.
And they were
They're
in the
so
room
big
the whole
they
time.
covered the entire...
That is just amazing. Wow.
テレパシーで女心を読めばモテモテだってトメさんが前に言ってたから。
倉田部長に女心の何がわかるんだよ。
いい加減にしろよ。一つだけ重要なアドバイスしてあげる。髪型変えた方がいい。口に出すのはあえてそこまでにしとく。
Oh, I have things for the discussion already.
Yeah.
All right, number 1, here we go.
ごめんなさい。
なんで？
理由を言わなきゃダメですか？だってあなたに何の興味も。
失礼しました。
Ah!
The line. Oh
Some of
my
them look like
God.
adults. Hey, what the hell?
No, that's just because, like, Body Improvement Club also are middle schoolers, you know?
Mob, if you're just gonna be the one person that goes to see her and doesn't ask her out, that might actually mean a lot.
Sure.
So yes, thank you. Actually, best girl over here.
Yep.
ここでモブ君がもたもたしてる間に他の男子たちが告白しまくってるわよ。
The face! The face!
工場の流れ作業みたいな感じで失恋男子大量生産中だ。
Tears being added as they
モ
pass.
ブ君も振られるよ。
Yep.
女の人ってどういう男がいい？
Girls in general? What?
筋トレから一歩進んだのね。
Hey, progress.
Yeah.
あと必要なのは器の広さ。
Ooh, consider it's a fun word to ponder. Yeah.
何を相談してもいいと思わせる。ほとんどの男子が見た目だけで好きになる。
Yeah.
彼女、きっと本性を隠してる。その正体をモブ君が受け止められるかどうか。だって誰のことも信用してなさそう。
Ooh.
That's a fun detail.
なんでそんなこと？
Yeah, if you get to know the real her, would you actually still like her?
モブ君もたまには他人を覚えた方がいい。
I like this as a lesson for Mob to learn.
ねえモブ君、彼女のどこがいいの？
Yeah.
It's a good question.
その質問に答えら
Yep.
れず
And now you're here.
All
Yep.
right.
バイトにも身が入るというか
Ah, I'm glad he's here. This is perfect.
Reagan, the love expert.
自分だけは違うと信じたいのはわかるが結局男ってのは単純な生き物なんだよ
And like 13-year-old men specifically, who aren't really even men yet.
Right.
でも好きな女の子ぐらいいただろ
いや、いないですね。
一度も
Oh.
隠しされても困るんだが
誰に何を言われても茂雄君の気持ちが変わらないんだったら、その気持ちは本気だってことだよね。じゃあ理由なんて言葉にできなくても。
Remember that this is the person with literally no experience with romantic feelings.
僕がどうしてこんなにつぼみちゃんのことが気になるのか。
It's because she accepted you as a child
Right.
and spent so much time with you.
自分でもよくわからない。だけど好きだ。つぼみちゃんのことが昔から。
じゃあ何も悩むことないだろう何よりもまず清潔感だなそれから誠実さおしゃれで聞き上手なのも重要なポイントだぞああそうそうドキドキさせる雰囲気作りも大事だ
That is amazing. There we go. But in the end,
Okay, yes.
深い関係を作りたい相手に取り繕ったってしょうがない
Mm-hmm.
ありのままのお前でいい自分自身を見せろ俺のアドバイスを取り入れた
Oh.
つぼみちゃんも
Ooh.
oh, this is so good because Mob's whole life has been about, unexpressed and bottled up feelings.
Right, so this is...
But
Yeah.
the idea of him unveiling his true self might be a little bit scary even to him.
あいつはまっすぐ行った方がいい何の嘘もない方が
Like, I'm pretty sure that Tsubomi's gonna reject him, but I'm more interested to see what the conversation is like before and after with that.
Ah! That was amazing. Thank you.
どうしたんだいため息ついて
Ah!
There we go.
厄介事かな
This person would know all about fixing...
Yeah, I was gonna say.
ここ数年ちゃんと話もしてなかったし、本当に急な話で。
だから急いで告白しようとしてるのか
Yeah, that haven't talked to her in years is a whole hurdle right there.
Yep.
僕とは全然違うから。
Oh,
何を言ってるんだ君は僕に似てるって自分で言ってたじゃないか
mm-hmm.
ほら
All the way back then.
Mm-hmm.
僕はいつも告白される側だけど
Ah,
手紙とか手作りクッキーとかもらった時はちょっと嬉しかったから
僕にはおにぎりしか。
いや無理しなくてもいいよ
Mob's grown a lot. Earlier seasons, he would be having percentage increases hearing all these
Yeah, just
expectations
talking
being
about
put
it,
on
yeah.
him,
花束か。
ま 勝負服のコーディネートは任せてよ。
服買うお金ないから今回は遠慮しとく。困ったな。確か高根さん好きな人がいる。
Oh.
Oh, damn.
好きな相手は塾で会う他校の子なんですけど。
Gotcha.
とにかくひどい振られ方だけはしないでほしい。リツ、きっと僕のことを僕より心配してくれてるんだ。兄さん、あんまり気を落とさないでね。
You're ready.
Oh, okay. Oh my god.
That okay.
Over the phone.
Ooh.
Do you want to go meet up somewhere?
Yeah.
That's if you're just doing the invite, that's good.
つぼみちゃん言いますか。はい、お願いします。
Cool. Okay. Oh, mom in the background.
なんかあれなんだってね。なんか引っ越すって。
Oh, all these little details of just him.
The little bits of nervous
being all finicky
energy.
and stuff. Yeah.
でさ、ちょっと話したいことがあって。電話じゃちょっと僕ら家近いし、久しぶりに公園でどうかな。そう、昔よく遊んだよね。
Oh man.
触れてないよ。気のせい。
She is not making this easy for him.
She's like, you're not gonna ask me
Oh
out.
god.
are you?"
All
I
right.
feel so. Yeah.
Like it's yeah. That.
約束したの。
But hey, good job, Mob. It's
Yeah.
not about like success or failure is not about her rejecting you or not.
Oh, his heart. It's
Yep.
gotta be just go.
意外と落ち着いてる。
Oh, he is.
Oh.
Yeah, liar. Yeah.
Yeah. Surprisingly, like given the circumstances, you know.
最近の僕は以前ほど気持ちを抱え込まなくなっ
Uh-huh. That's true.
Yeah.
You're not slipping and falling over the soccer ball. You're
Right.
confident in yourself. Now, you could lose a lot of that confidence here if you build up your own expectations. This could be
Right.
something that you didn't.
花束を
Okay.
All right.
Okay. That's why he doesn't have money for the outfit. He's spending it on flowers.
Yep. And
Oh,
the rest
it's
of it
nice
was
and cute and small. Yeah, I was gonna
Yeah.
say you probably don't have that much money.
especially after that shirt.
ありがとうございました。
Oh, hey, yeah.
Oh.
One of the 5, right? The Ultimate 5, yeah. This is a Minigishi. Yeah. Oh, what a Chad! What a guy!
それと交換しよう。
Nice.
いいんですか。どうして。
Oh, that's so sweet.
みんなありがとう。
All right.
Watch, just some 9-year-old kid is gonna kill all his confidence
Right.
there with one word.
Bad luck.
Whoa.
You could have moved the cat.
I mean, it's probably just as easy for him to move the cat and the car. Yeah,
That's
that's how
fair.
powerful he is.
Yeah. Oh my god. Oh shit.
Oh my god.
Holy shit. Wait, what?
Yeah, he didn't have enough time to put up a full barrier, so he probably put up a barrier to block the car, but not him hitting the pavement, you know? So he hit the pavement hard. Holy shit!
What?
Oh, that's a cool twist. All right, Mom.
Okay.
Wow.
That's
I'm impressed, and also I'm
surprised.
I'm surprised. Yeah.
Like for a couple reasons. Like, okay, this is happening. There's a forcing function that makes it so that nope, you've got to confess to her now. I love the fact that they did the whole thing of yes, same along with every other guy in school, and it's like okay,
Yeah.
no,
assembly line style.
Right, exactly.
No, thank you. No,
Thank you. No, thank you. Next, please. All right. Yeah, it's like, okay, maybe don't do that, but getting hit by a car.
Yeah, that's really, really fun and interesting as a dynamic because one, he used his powers twice. One, to stop the other car from hitting the cat.
And I like the distinction that it's he doesn't stop the car by affecting the car. He stops the wheels to basically force it to put on the brakes so that way the people in the car are also okay.
Right. And so they'll think it's like a miracle, basically. That it's like, did I put my foot on the brakes that quickly?
Shoot,
Whoa, okay. Good.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really glad that happened. Whereas with this one, it's no, in order to stop the car, I would still end up having the kid get hurt. So if I throw the kid really fast, I don't know that he'll be okay based on how fast I'd need to throw him.
So I'll push the kid out of the way.
I'll push the kid out of the way and take the hit with my own psychic barrier.
Yep.
But then Mob ends up still having force upon force. He goes flying, hits the pavement, has probably a concussion at the very least or a cracked skull.
And that is something that that as a detail I really like because that has been set up previously in fights that Mob has had, even if it was against someone that he was far stronger than, if they hit him with an attack and he stops the attack from hurting him, it might still knock him back, anime physics style and everything. And if that were to happen in real life, say, when you're stopping a car on the street, hey, you still might hit your head on the concrete, right?
Yeah.
So, okay, cool.
It still might be 1,000 pounds of force coming at you, just boom, and it's like, oh, well, okay, cool. The car is fucked up, but so are you, Mob, so yay.
So this will be interesting.
Yeah.
And, will this actually keep the confession from happening? I think there's a possibility of that. If Mob then, thinks about it more and he's like, I don't actually need to.
Too.
But yeah, I think he's going to. It might change the circumstances. It might up his chances. But at the very least, it will allow for there to be a bit more of a vulnerable conversation, I would say, rather than it being about whether or not she reciprocates his feelings.
Right.
Because let's face it, this girl is cold, serious, dead set on what she wants, and she doesn't really have time for other people, right? So
we also don't know her. I wanted to
true.
bring this up as something that is really, really important here. Tsubomi is not the main girl of this story.
Nope, not even the second main girl.
Nope. I keep forgetting her name, but the photographer girl.
Oh, the photographer girl.
Yeah. She has been amazingly awesome for Mob, even though she kind of fucked things up in episode 3 with the whole cult and things like that. There's a lot about her that shows that she's not only in Mob's corner, but she really does care about him. But Mob can't see her that way, so there it is.
Yeah.
But Mob also has this fixation with being liked. Not just being liked for the purpose of, being accepted, but all the time since the very beginning of the show, and even with his backstory stuff, he's desired to be, one that people see as, not necessarily popular, but one that's, desirable. And even with the way he acted as a kid, obviously, so we can't blame him too much for that.
Right.
He was very much trying to do look, Tsubomi, I'm cool. I deserve to be liked. I have all these cool things that I can do. And then she, naturally, like a kid, also eventually, after liking it for a long time, then goes, because you guys weren't actually really connecting as people because you didn't know how to do that because you were kids.
Right.
But Mob, you can't use that then as a foundation for anything with regards to relationship. It's nostalgia. It's in some ways a false perception of her. And thus, I loved that best girl, in my opinion, the photography girl, is like, so I don't know why people like her. Why do you like her? Because she's not trying to trap him with there's nothing to like her. She's just genuinely from my perspective, I don't see why people would like her other than her looks, which I get. But Mob, you seem like you would like her more than that. So what do you see that I don't?
Right.
And he's like, oh God, I have no idea.
Well, and the thing is, I feel like for Mob, it does make sense because it's they had this connection as kids. Mob is very much introvert type person, so he doesn't have many connections with a lot of people in general. So the few ones that he does have are really precious to him, right? And so then it's I want to hold on to this thing. Wait, why did that connection go away. Like, I know why, but also, like, I wish it hadn't. And so, okay, there you go. But when he, like, I feel like it's almost going to be something where when he ends up telling her how he feels, like, let's say she visits him in the hospital, right? I think there's a very decent chance of that happening, given that she was willing to actually go to the park, you know, to meet him, even though she kind of, like, was, like, giving a lot of, like, resistance questions, basically. Maybe she'll just give him a phone call. Who knows, you know? Oof. But yeah, I could see that happening as like a contrast of like, okay, you know, she'll do the societal, like.
I honestly don't think there'd be any reason for her to know about this outside of going to the actual scene of where this happened by just pure coincidence. And then she's like, oh my God, Mom, did you get hurt? Like that's in my opinion, that's the only way that this kind of thing happens. From a lot of perspectives here, I would say there's more reason for her to be like, oh, yeah, I was right. He chickened out.
Yeah,
He got scared. He was going to confess to me. This is confirmation and proof that he was going to.
Sure.
That's why I was right in doing this. And then it's and then, you know, something happens after whatever the next conflict is that forces at the very least a conversation, because it's not happening tomorrow. Like, we still have a little bit of time.
Yes, that is true.
Like, Tsubomi, like, this is something I go really in depth into the conversation here, but Tsubomi's leaving doesn't mean that you have to rush to then do some grand gesture or something like this. All it is that for the foreseeable future, you guys are not going to have the convenience of seeing each other. But, you know, Mob, if he's a little bit pragmatic here, what he can do is basically be like, hey, I really wanted to hang out with you these past few years, but I've been going through a lot of stuff internally. But now that you're leaving, I'm realizing, oh, I want to keep in touch and be friends. Can we exchange line or, you know, numbers or contact info or something? And then she'd be like, sure. And it might not lead to much of anything depending on how far she's moving, but it's at the very least something where I can't see much reason as to why she would say no. Other than like, oh, I actively dislike you, Mom.
Yeah, because she's a very frank person, I could see her saying no potentially, but I could also see her being like, yeah, sure, why not? And then it's just, you know, message read, you know.
Well, yeah. And again, we don't know her that well. Like a lot of the things as to what we are drawing conclusions about her are based on like 2 scenes in the entire 3 seasons of the anime.
Yeah, we basically have like the outside view that everyone at the school has, which we know is fake. And then we have
idealized memory.
So 3. The school view, the idealized memory, and then that little bit of a very simplified, probably inaccurate because it's so simplified, view that we can get of her internals because of how she is at school. And
I don't even count that. I count more the stuff in the beginning of season 2 when Mob was starting to realize that, oh, I can talk to girls. Yeah. And then he gets the girlfriend for like a few days and stuff because of the bet that they made with her. And at that moment, I believe there's a scene with Tsubomi that was kind of like like she kind of has like a quizzical thing at Mob, and I believe the girl and him hanging out, and it was just like
right, it's the you are not a potato plant, you know, whatever vision that you like. You are not that to her, even though like you see that for like, you know, her friends and things like that, right? So you are not just one of the other people standing in line, but
because you have at the very least a memory tied with her, but then also just the idea of like you guys are on like a first name basis, like
sure,
like you guys are like decently like connected in that way, and then she doesn't have like, I would say, an active negative view of you. Like,
right.
So I think in a lot of ways the main thing that is rough about this is that they had some kind of connection of some kind that's, you know, tied to nostalgia primarily.
Right.
But he did not speak to her for like a few years, which to me, if I was childhood friends with somebody and my childhood friend actively did not speak to me for years at a time when we went to the same school and everything, I would think they disliked me. I would think on some level that they disliked me.
I mean, I think yes, I can totally see that.
Zero talking. Like
yeah. In the case of with Tsubomi and Mob, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just the I don't think that would be something that would enter her mind enough in order to even really think about it, if that makes sense. It'd just be because she has no interest in Mob, right? Like, let's be real, right? So if he's not talking to her, she probably wouldn't, like, I would think that because she's so self-focused, or at least self-driven, she wouldn't spend the time thinking about him in order to even wonder whether or not he cared about her.
What's your basis for the self-focused or self-driven characterization?
Because it's the I forget who it was. I think it was Dimple that talked about it, but that she is a very selfish person, but not necessarily in a bad way. Oftentimes that has the negative connotations and stuff. But it's that if she is not interested in something, she'll say so, right? It's the I know what I want, I know what I'm about, and that's it. And there's no room in my life for anything that does not benefit me, that I do not personally value, etc. Right?
Okay.
So, with the long line of the people at school, it's just no, thank you. She does the basic pleasantries, but that's it, right? It's just move along, please, right?
I mean, yeah, it's comical what's happening.
No, exactly.
Right, I would say that's almost like it's almost like so silly of a situation that it just says nothing about her character.
No, totally.
Okay.
If that was on its own, of course it wouldn't, right?
Right.
But because that has previously been established as like one of the things that's been talked about for her as a person, that's just a comically exaggerated example of it on display that would probably go that way regardless. But then with things of like how she interacts with her friends, how she has interacted with Mob, the whole get a clue, right? There was
right,
nothing,
but all that was from the childhood. Like they have not engaged over the past few years.
No, right, but you remember the scene that I'm talking about, where Dimple's like, I'm surprised that you even think you have a chance with her, Mob. Because, because she will not give the time of day to anyone that she does not personally like.
Right. So I'm challenging that based on the thing that the photographer girl said here, was that there's a side of her that she's not showing, and that the show is basically giving us kind of a heads up that we don't know Tsubomi. All the stuff that we've seen before this actually is not Tsubomi. And that's very important that the show kind of pointed that out through the utilization of the photographer girl character by saying that all that stuff that we've seen is the stuff that she's presenting at the school. That's a persona that is not her.
But what I'm saying is, so the side that she hides from everybody could be something that we have absolutely never seen before or have any clue or inclination towards. It could also be the side of her that's the no, I don't care about anybody if they don't benefit me, if I'm not interested in them, the kind of stuff that Dimple was talking about. Because she very much does not present that at school, right? That's something that she keeps hidden. People would be able to infer it, I think.
No, I kind of disagree. I feel like that's something that's primarily shown by the way that she interacted with her friends, is that it's basically just having people around for the sake of having people around. They're not really her friends.
No, exactly.
So from my perspective, I feel like if we're going to have an arc focused on this kind of thing we need to see a new side of her. So from a meta perspective, she is going to show a new side to her character that we have not seen before. So even if part of it is that there's a presentation of this is who I am, this is a cold exterior, I see that more as a wall that has something else behind it. And having the photographer girl, I need to just get her name down, but having that kind of stuff be focused on here, I feel like that means there has to be some kind of other thing that's going to be brought up. And what I would infer from there is loneliness, because it's I don't have any real friends. I don't get to show my real self. It's a parallel to Mob's thing of expression and being someone that's growing towards being able to express his true feelings. And then they focused on, in this episode, a little bit about how Mob, you need to show your true self.
Sure.
That is something that Mob needs to do because he hasn't been ever bad at that in the last season and a half because of all the season 2 development. But I think that that's something that they're directly trying to parallel, potentially for Tsubomi.
Gotcha.
If she basically gets all this pressure of being the school idol, people constantly throwing themselves at her, having fake friends that are kind of shields from everybody else and stuff like that, then it's just oh, cool. Then what would be the thing that would counteract that or be the natural progression from that? She's lonely. I just think that's a pretty it's a decent theory, but it just needs to be needs to be reinforced.
I could see that definitely being the case if under a certain set of circumstances with how like the confession ends up going, right? Mm-hmm. The bit about Mob and him needing to.
Oh, sorry. Can I say one more thing?
Go for it.
They mentioned that specifically that the other girl noticed that Tsubomi doesn't trust anyone.
Yes.
And that was the moment where I realized, oh shoot, that's the cold exterior thing that you're talking about. But also, if you don't trust anyone, well, why? Yes, that's a good question. But specifically, if she doesn't trust anyone, that means she has no close friends.
Oh, okay. So
that literally means she doesn't have anyone close to her.
So, right. Tsubomi, because of the role that she's had in the story thus far, they could totally make it where her actual issues have nothing to do with Mob, and so it's she does not want to let you into that space. So we're not because
you're not special to her.
You're not special to her,
right.
And so that's part of the point of it. And then maybe they have a conversation about that
and how they maybe help each other, but it's not going to be them. Yeah.
But if they did want to have it be very relevant to Mob, right? Which I don't think they have to. I think that would be too on the nose. Right, like that would.
I feel like you could do it by narrative convenience of them both needing to be more comfortable expressing their feelings.
But the thing that I think it would potentially take away is the fact that in this situation, Mob is going through something that is very relatable. In that, like, he likes a cute girl at school. She's not really interested in him. What do you do about that, right? If it's something where then, so okay, this is the idea that I had. What if when she's like, oh, it's boring, get a clue, right? That's an expression of some general frustration and things like that, right? But then he goes away and doesn't talk to her for years, like you're saying, right? What if that's something where then she gets the idea of, oh, so you weren't actually trying to connect with me, you're just trying to do, like impress me with your powers or whatever. Like she's
I think
young enough
6. So
no, exactly.
Yeah,
but
I don't.
If there were to be some level of where it's actually connected to Mob and their history together, I personally wouldn't like it if that was the case, but
I think it's going to be extremely vaguely, loosely, tangentially connected at best. But yeah, I'm with you. I do not think that any of their past stuff is something that she's been keeping, other than maybe the fact is that, oh, it's weird that you're calling me out of the blue when I had kind of written you off as even a friend, because if we had that connection over the past few years, I don't think she even remembers what she told him back then.
Oh yeah, I remember like old childhood friends where it's like, I'd spend a lot of time with them, but like, it's not even a thing of like, oh, I probably wouldn't spend time with them now. I don't even know them.
Exactly.
They're a stranger that there's a trivia thing in my head of like, oh yeah, I used to hang out with them when I was 5. You know?
And like their favorite thing to do at that time was X, but like even even then.
And the thing with Tsubomi, the reason why I don't get the sense that she's lonely is because she seems, from what we've seen of her, she seems so well adjusted to the situation that she's in. And maybe this is just because the story isn't focusing on her because she's not one of like the main characters, but it makes me think like we haven't seen anything about her struggling with that or having conflict with that. So that makes me think it's just this is the situation, but I'm cool with it.
The fact that they're focusing on this, I have to again basically say that like no, I think this is actually a very strong point for it, in that every time that we've seen her with the friends and stuff, they try to show some, not duplicitousness, but some aspect of this of where she's not actively enjoying her time with these friends. The two people, the red pepper, the green pepper, and the cauliflower or whatever. Potato, yeah. It's basically that she smiles and does this stuff, but at any time they move in front of her, she kind of just...
Right.
And I would say that the idea of moving, typically in these kinds of stories, means that something either is happening that is outside of her control, that's just a basic,
parents
boring...
get a new job or something like that.
And it's arbitrary. It doesn't mean anything. If there's anything that it's tied to the person, it means usually that things at school are not going well. That's usually the main reason.
Yeah.
Because it's they're wanting to switch schools. They're not necessarily wanting to literally have the family move. It's they're going to go somewhere else, but in order to go to a different school, then the family has to move. And I still want to put out the idea that if this girl who's the, up and coming reporter of the school and stuff, and is very much the girl that unfortunately kind of gets relegated to giving exposition about the things that are happening so that Mom can stay informed about what's going on. Who I still see as potentially, the best girl, because she actually does care a lot about Mom and actively initiates hanging out with him a lot. So I want that to happen. I'm just saying that I feel like this type of character, this archetype, feels like one who's ended up projecting so much, like you're saying, I'm well adjusted, I've got everything handled, I'm under control. Well, that's not an interesting character, so why would you focus on her? Because there is something going on. There is some slight thing that's off, and I would say that it's the girl's right. She can't trust anybody. And if that's the case, then she has no people close to her. And Mob, as the main character, is someone who, by the purpose of this episode, is showing that he has like 15 people in his corner right now who are like, let's go. Even fucking Minagishi gave him a full-on bouquet to swap out.
That was so sweet.
He was such a throwaway character from season 2, just one of the ultimate 5, not anywhere close to Sarazawa's level of like character dynamics and dimensionality. This is like, hey, bro, like, just trade me. Come on.
Yeah.
And it's just like, we don't need to know anything more about him. It's just that he's a sweet guy who just sees someone who's just got something that he's very excited and passionate about, but also very nervous. And he's like, hey, you know what? Let me give you a 5,000 yen bouquet. Like, let's just do that real quick. I got you. Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yep. That was an absolutely beautiful scene. But yeah. We'll see what the situation is with Tsubomi. I
still don't think they're going to end up together. I'm just using all this to make her character more interesting.
I think it's going to be something where they'll have a fantastic conversation in the hospital, but it is very much going to be the thing where Mob is not going to actually become. He's going to become a little closer to her about this, but it's not that like it's going to be something where all of a sudden he's like friends with her after this. It's just she will probably communicate with him exactly why she's not interested and like, that whole situation, which is something that she absolutely wouldn't give to anybody else because Mob actually is putting in the effort and, and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then what we're going to have is the contrast where they have that conversation at the hospital. It's good. It's, Mob's going to hurt a bit from it or whatever, but it's going to be good. And then we're going to have Reporter Girl come in because she hears about it and she's genuinely concerned and she comes to see him. And then it's like, this is what it's like when you actually have connection with a person.
I would love to have that contrast. Yeah. I definitely feel like that's something that will happen by the end of the season. I don't see this being a hospital, I rush to their side kind of show.
Sure.
I really don't even think I want that personally.
Well, even if that does happen, that's still, we still have episodes after that, right? So that might be something that helps resolve this arc, but that doesn't mean it's like the conclusion, to the big climax to the show.
Well, no, right? I'm with you, but I feel like we're almost at that point where we don't necessarily have time to start setting up another arc after this one.
Oh, totally. I think this episode with the previous episode and everything is a good way to showcase that we are not getting arcs anymore. It's like the tying on of bows on all the different characters and relationships.
And this is Tsubomi's starting.
Yeah, exactly.
Here.
This is Tsubomi's and maybe Reporter Girls as well.
Or also Mob's. I want to bring up the idea that Mob's whole thing of his true self being something that he needs to be comfortable showing. I feel like that was the best advice that he got the whole day.
Sure.
Basically, there was some really sweet moments of people like giving him assists and kind of confidence boosts of like the Body Improvement Club being like, take off your shirt.
Yeah.
And he's like,
smack him on the
okay.
back, yeah.
And they give him the smacks and it's like, okay, that is some good kind of, I would say, pretty fun kind of showcasing of masculinity in anime, where sometimes masculinity gets kind of cheapened or looked at as like just overall kind of goofy and not super serious. And while this was kind of goofy because they weren't literally saying showcase your muscles, what they were kind of saying from a masculine goofy perspective is showcase the efforts and work you've done on yourself,
right? AKA
your true self in whatever you do. And then thus his confidence is boosted a little bit.
Exactly.
So by having, God, I guess say her photographer girl again, having her say literally that when it seems like the final conflict for this story will be Mob's question mark, his inner self, that we are seeing a percentage increase now, which means we're getting an explosion.
Yes.
It's just, of all the emotions to explode with, I don't think there's many right now that need to be addressed. So I would prefer not to have the typical explosion of just hitting 100%, but of the, what would be something that would upend Mob to the point where he would need to address that inner deep self that like protects him. The one that's like, this came out when he almost died, in season 1. This came out, at like the prequel moment of the whole anime when he was fighting, weird monsters and ghosts and aliens and shit. Like, what would instigate that? And right now I would say we're almost pretty close to that because he nearly fucking died here.
Yeah, but I think the final explosion, because Tsubame, yes, this whole situation is upping the numbers, right? But this is something that Mob has never had to deal with before.
He's nervous.
So of course he's nervous, right? Yeah. Just because he's grown does not mean he is perfect all of a sudden, right?
True.
But this is not going to be something that makes him explode, right? The thing that would have absolutely sent him over the edge before, just thinking about it, made it stress out and all that stuff.
Right.
Now he's able to handle it, have conversations about it, and have it never go up in the conversation, right?
For sure.
So I think the show is going to end with a final explosion, but it is going to be a positive one. It's going to be like we had the positive one with Dimple, right? This is going
also one at the end of season 2.
Yes,
That was
right,
also
exactly.
A positive explosion.
We have had positive explosions in Mob, and they have started to tend towards that. So I think the final one is going to be as well, and there's going to be some kind of particular special one that hasn't been gotten into yet. That is going to be the perfect resolution to it.
I want to throw an idea out there. I just realized why. No. I just realized why the OP is called 1. It's about 1.
Okay.
He's actually going to come really close to an explosion, but then he's just going to express his emotions, and it's going all the way back down to 1.
Oh, I like
it's not about. It's not about him having an explosion. It's about him being comfortable releasing his emotions in a consistent, kind of like, I just give it freely. It's not violent. It's not dangerous. It's not loss of control. If in some ways that's his main thing that he needs to address is the loss of control angle. The idea of maybe like not self-confidence or self-control, but like expression itself, like being confident and just being able to be vulnerable and just share what's going on when it's going on.
I think he's gotten pretty good at that, though.
But
like, because with the
kind of, but
so like
but
with
still he could do better
with the explosion thing and the 100% and all that stuff, right? I could totally see it being what you're talking about, and I hadn't thought about that of the numbers going down to 1 or going down to 0. It started at it was at 99, and then and then the percentages are gone. He got rid of it, he fixed it, and that's how we know that the show is over, right? Mob has dealt with that kind of internal stuff. That is a direction that I could totally see the show taking, and it being wonderfully poignant and poetic and cathartic. I could also see it being something where it's the stuff that I've talked about before in previous discussions, where it's not the getting rid of it, but it's the accepting and learning, like, this is a part of me, and I know how to incorporate that into my life in a way that is healthy, right? So with things like the gratitude and trust and, and all of that stuff, right? Where that's what the explosions are, and the explosion itself isn't problematic, really, right? It's just a time where Mob ends up being purely expressive of just how much he cares about someone and things like that.
Right. And I personally wouldn't want that to be, like I was saying, we're too low of a percentage to have it happen right now in that respect. But the idea of having a consistent build up over the next few episodes or so that is done for someone like Ritsu or Reagan, then maybe. But also I could see it being more of a thing where it's for himself, where it's a thing where it doesn't need to have anybody else there. It's something that he's addressing, like his own internal emotions and state, and is just like, this is okay. And then he either lets it happen and cries about it, or just has a lot of emotions about it, and then just is like, okay, and then he brings it back down himself, and it'd be like a self-love thing, like you're talking about, but having it be not necessarily an explosion, because I do think that in some ways the question mark thing is more of a state rather than an explosion, if that makes sense.
Okay.
It's something that happens when he's in danger.
Right. The purest,
not when he needs to express an
life
emotion.
or death, fight or flight, like just
Right.
Random thing that popped into my head, and I just want to say it. I don't think this is going to happen, but just in case it does, they have all the stuff happen with Tsubomi, right?
Yes.
The numbers go up, right? But not as much. It doesn't go to 100 or even anywhere close, and it shows mob's grown and all that stuff. Last 2 episodes, what it actually is Mob all of a sudden runs into one of the people that he uses powers against way back when.
Okay.
Just out of the blue, and then it's the oh shit, and then that's how he has to deal with that specifically, and then that's because when I'm thinking of things that would be like stressful enough to actually push him to 100, since I don't think Tsubomi will, that's like one of the few things that I could see actually doing it. Like when I think about stuff other than that, I'm kind of drawing a blank.
Yeah.
But
I feel like the introducing of a previous antagonist and stuff doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah.
For the progression of this story, but I do want something that would force him to get to a state of feeling in danger enough, and maybe this is it, like just he's like almost dead here, like this is a pretty scary moment here.
Yeah.
But I feel like this, if anything, is going to maybe start a domino effect more so than being the instigating factor for stuff like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
The one other thing I could see is the percentages are used as a way to showcase if he starts developing feelings for someone else.
What?
Yeah. So, like, let's say something ends up happening with Photography Girl. Next episode is the contrast with the a hospital conversation, right?
Okay.
The Tsubomi thing is resolved. And then you have the last 2 episodes being Mob starting to realize that, the beginning of sort of like a romance anime, essentially situation, right? Where then he starts to realize, oh, I kind of like this person. And then you use the percentages, not in like a bad way necessarily, but to show like, the heart starting to beat faster, or things like that.
I would say that's a Mob Psycho season 4 kind of thing in my mind. That feels like, to me, after he's figured out literally how to observe and control his own percentages, not control them by having them go up and down himself, but it's I know what that is now, and he's aware of it. It'd be like the kind of thing where he'd almost like grab through the 4th wall and grab the percentage number and like take it off, or like if it goes up to like 90%, he takes the 0, takes it and moves it in front of the 9, and is like, okay. Yeah. Like that kind of energy is kind of what I would see that being. And that's a Mob that has fully realized himself and accepted himself and is like, yeah, I got this. That's Mob. If they wanted to do a time skip at the end of this show, that's when they do it. To have him see like, oh, his percentages start going up, and he's just like, oh yeah, that happens every once in a while. And he takes like, it's at 51%, and he takes the 5 and adjusts it, and now the 1 is in front, and he's like, okay, 15%. That's me. And then he's like, I like to sit in the 10 to 30% range. I feel like that's where most people live in, and that's okay.
Yeah.
But if it starts moving up to the 50, 60, 70, 80, that I'm no longer myself, really, and I can kind of need to adjust that, and that would be a really funny thing.
That would be cool
to see it being something where it's so casual at this point that it's no, I didn't remove all emotional problems from me. It's I'm not scared of it anymore. I'm not turning away from it anymore.
That's why I kind of want it to be something where he leans into the percent increase, right? And maybe that's just the emotional junkie in me, where it's like, ooh, what if it doesn't have to be a bad thing? Where it's not the fear and the stress and the tension or whatever. It's actually just maybe that you're excited. You're going into new territory, right? Like, I don't know. Yeah. I'm very excited to see what direction one decides to take this whole set of developments and everything. I think there's plenty of options. And now it's just which do you choose?
Yeah. Also, just random thing. The little Saitama on his cell phone background. That was so fucking funny.
That was wonderful. Yeah.
It's so fucking funny. Oh, But yeah, y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You can get an early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel.
We stream every weekday. The info's in the description.
Yeah, so if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.